I don't think it could have been handled in a way that we're going to go back in hindsight and look, but the idea that somehow there's a way to have gotten out without chaos ensuing, I don't know how that happens. I don't know how that happened.
But we've all seen the pictures. We've seen those hundreds of people packed into a C-17. We've seen Afghans falling.
That was 4 days ago, 5 days ago.
What did you think when you first saw those pictures?
What I thought was we have to gain control of this. We have to move this more quickly. We have to move in a way in which we can take control of that airport. And we did.
Let's cross now to New York and Tom O'Connor. He is the senior foreign policy writer at Newsweek magazine. Hi, Tom. Good seeing you. So President Biden, they're saying the U.S. has control of Kabul's airport and will get evacuees out. But earlier, the State Department said it could not ensure people safe passage to the airfield. There seems to be a lot of confusion there, Tom.
Yeah, entirely. There are contradictory reports coming out right now. The difference is, I believe that the U.S. military certainly, at least it seems to have control of Kabul airport. But as outside of the airport, because the U.S. military has essentially left Afghanistan outside that area, there is no guarantee of safety if you are elsewhere and even in the capital, much less the rest of Afghanistan. So, the Taliban is right now trying to portray to the world that it is tasking itself with enforcing the law in what has been a very lawless country. So it's in a precarious position. But the Taliban very much right now wants to portray itself as a responsible actor, one that can guarantee the safety of the Afghan people, and including at this point, at least at this stage, Afghans who want to leave. The U.S. and Taliban have an arrangement right now where it seems largely these planes keep leaving and Afghans are leaving.
Yeah, the U.S. says it has a, quote, moral obligation to help those who helped us, end quote. But President Biden has been criticized, mostly by Republicans, hasn't he?
Yes, of course, because, I mean, there are some people out there, this doesn't just speak to Republicans, speaks to a wide range of people who, especially in Washington and the Pentagon, who would have wanted this war to go on forever, who would have never wanted to see this, because it is painful. I mean, the images that we're seeing day after day. But right now, it does seem that the situation in Kabul has returned to some semblance of security, some semblance of stability. And that being said, there are obviously smaller fires breaking out elsewhere in the country as far as unrest. But right now, I mean, the Biden administration's singular goal is making sure that Afghan allies, that includes people who work for the U.S. government, of course, and of course, U.S. citizens, are able to get out of that country safely. And the Taliban right now seems to not have an interest in disrupting that.
However, the Taliban, Tom, does say that there will be no regression of sorts. I mean, the group says girls can continue school, women can still work, political detainees will be released. It's assumed the group is seeking international legitimacy. Does the U.S. trust the Taliban's promises?
Well, I certainly wouldn't say that they trust them. Of course not. I think it's more of an issue of realism, of practicality. I mean, in any sort of negotiation or any sort of conversation, when you want to influence the other party, you have to have leverage. And I think the U.S. found out some time ago that it did not have any leverage. Besides, of course, the military power, the U.S. being the foremost military power. Of course, it has a physical leverage like that. But its leverage for the entire point of the U.S. mission in Afghanistan was to shore up the Afghan security forces, and the Afghan government, which ended up being really a house of cards at the end of the day. So it did not have that leverage on the ground, and the Taliban really has the upper hand here. I think that they certainly want to portray that, but like any other entity, there are generals and there's diplomats. Right now, the diplomats are talking, but the generals ultimately will have to enforce those promises.
All right, Tom O'Connor, Newsweek, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.